please, don't try anything that you're about to see us do at home. Ever.
Oh, we got a lot of myths from the movies.
I think my favorite was explosive decompression.
I like Goldfinger.
How about rear axle?
You know, we should do a whole episode that is only movie myths.
Can you guys be quiet so we can watch this movie?
You're right, Tori. You don't want to miss a frame of this feature-length episode. It's lights, camera, action as Mythbusters goes to the movies and puts some of Hollywood's biggest scenes to the test.
Danger is my middle name.
Take a fall with Indiana Jones.
Go!
Head in the opposite direction on Austin Powers' ejector seat. Descend into the underworld to find out if a ballistics breakthrough is possible. Also, sparks will fly as the guys try to cut a sword with a sword. And our own Dukes of Hazzard ramp up a car chase classic.
We're gonna jump the hump.
You'll believe a car can fly. Who are the Mythbusters? Adam Savage and Jamie Hyneman.
This is gonna kill you.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience.
That's what I'm talking about!
Joining them, Tori Belleci,
Very excited about this.
Carrie Byron,
Look, he cracked into his skull.
and Grant Imahara.
Don't say anything.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. We kick off our blockbuster special with a classic movie myth. And the guys couldn't resist playing Buster Keaton. Or should that be Mythbuster Keaton? The Mythbusters are about to take a dive into some movie mayhem. Hope there's something soft and bouncy to break their fall.
So, awning fall, what's the myth?
You jump off the edge of a building, and you survive the fall because you are going through awnings before you hit the ground.
Oh, just like in Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Indy and his voluptuous co-star are forced to jump from a window to escape a hail of bullets. Luckily for them and moviegoers, there just happens to be some awnings in place to break their fall.
Well, that sounds dangerous. How are we going to test this one?
Well, like everything, we're going to test it in two parts. First comes testing the circumstances of the myth, which is to bolt some awnings to the side of a building and throw Buster through them and see how survivable it actually is. Then we're going to get some stuntmen to teach us how Hollywood would set up a stunt like that to do it safely.
Part one of this myth will be straightforward. They'll hoist Buster into the air, drop him onto the awnings, and see if he busts through or just busts. First things first, they need a building to drop them off. Carrie, Tori, and Grant become location scouts. This deserted military base fulfills the basic requirements. It has a lot of flat roofs, a long way off the ground.
I don't think you want to fall from this distance.
While they're choosing the drop-off point, Adam and Jamie are fawning over an awning. Using stills from the Temple of Doom, the guys at Zebra Awnings have made a shade that matches the ones in the movie. Would it be enough to save you if you fell onto it?
Michael, what kind of fabric is this and how heavy is it?
100% acrylic fabric. It's about 9.75 ounce per square yard.
It's exactly the same material you find on any building or storefront. They take 6 awnings, 3 for Buster's fall and 3 for Adam to crash through a little later. Down at the base, Tori, Carrie, and Grant have chosen a suitably sheer drop and start drilling holes for the awning mounts. But it's tough going. This was a nuclear fallout shelter constructed during the darkest days of the Cold War. The walls are lined with steel reinforcing bars.
You know, there's always the possibility. You know, I thought we were going to be able to drill through this cement a lot easier than this.
Drill bits are being broken faster than the dreams of a movie star would be, fresh off the bus from Kansas. But thanks to the magic of television, we can hit the fast-forward button. A full day and a half later...
Man, what a day.
It's a good one.
The result? 3 awnings, one above the other, just like in Temple of Doom. Now the star of the show's arrived on set. Buster's reprising his role as, what else? The Fall Guy.
I collected some of the shock watch stickers so we can check the G's on his different parts of his body.
We are always trying to figure out what is the lethal limit. How much damage is a deadly amount of damage? And we've attached all sorts of different meters and devices to Buster and run into trouble with most of them, except for these things, these shock watch stickers.
Red measures a shock of 50 Gs, which is survivable. Orange is a bone-shattering 75 Gs. The green one on his head measures a shock of 100 Gs. That's lethal. If this one trips, Buster's a goner. Buster's harness is hooked up to a quick-release shackle, which is connected to the boom lift cage. Soon he's swinging in midair above the awnings. Will he emulate Indiana Jones?
All right. 85% that Buster hits that top awning and lands somewhere about 20 feet out on the street. 4% chance that he goes through one awning and into the next. That's like a 1%. Negative 1% that he goes through 2 awnings and lands safely in the 3rd awning. 100% chance of Buster death.
Meanwhile, inspired by a century of celluloid sword fighting, the Mythbusters are about to take another movie myth and cut it down to size.
So what's the myth?
Well, this is one I wish we were taking on ourselves. But you guys are going to handle it. It is from sword fights in the movies. Every time there's a sword fight in the movie, I swear the hero ends up slicing the bad guy's sword in half with his sword.
So we're going to get to cut swords in half.
We have to find out if that's possible.
Dude, that sounds dangerous.
And yet,
Fun.
Sword cutting is a Hollywood cliche with a long and proud history. For instance, in the remake of The Count of Monte Cristo, James Caviezel is making his point to Guy Pearce when his sword is suddenly stunted.
Okay, so if we're going to test this myth, obviously we're going to have to get some swords.
and this is actually the first hurdle. I mean, any sword that was made for real fighting is an antique and pretty much priceless. So I don't know what to do about that.
Well, you know, I'm sure they have really high quality replicas that are made like the real thing. So why not get those? And they're going to be, You know, they won't be cheap, but they're not going to be, like, priceless.
Traditional sword makers used different types of steel. These were then forged and folded together. It's a technique that was honed over hundreds of years, and the end product was a sword of truly formidable strength. The Mythbusters will have to steel themselves for something a little less traditional. These modern replicas have been cast from high-carbon steel.
This is a bimetal, hardened steel, katana, battle-ready sword. Now, these are the ones that we're going to be using for the actual cutting and target sword. These swords may look cool, but these are just stainless steel, softer metal swords. These are the ones we're going to use for velocity tests, or if we need a softer metal target, or Tori and Grant need to get out some of their pretend samurai battles.
Now, we know the Mythbusters usually like to be scientific about their work, but this time they're going to try the direct approach.
All right, what's the whole myth is trying to cut a sword with another sword, right?
Yeah.
So why don't we just try to cut a sword with another sword?
Okay.
Wearing the latest season's chainmail, the guys clamp a sword and come out swinging. In the end, the target blade isn't cut in two, but it is damaged. Maybe Hollywood has a point.
I gotta tell you, I'm really jealous about this. I heard you guys were whacking these things all over the parking lot yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
We weren't able to break it, though. I mean, I practically broke my hand.
Yeah, my hands are still stinging.
Well, look, it's time to get back to basics and make this thing swing as hard as possible. It's time to build a sword whacking robot, man.
All right, I accept your challenge.
Grant's robot will comprise a steel arm revolving on a spindle. Coiled around the spindle, a length of cable with weights attached. When a quick release fires, the weights will drop, pulling the cable, and the robot arm will swing into action.
You know, guys, it occurs to me that you can't make this machine swing this thing just at the fastest speed possible. You want to fire it at your object with the same speed and the same power as, like, the best swordsman you could find.
Oh.
So you should bring a swordsman in and clock his swinging speed.
So that way we know it's humanly possible.
Precisely.
These guys are exponents of a samurai sword art called tamashigiri. They've brought along the real thing, antique Japanese swords, more at home in a museum than at Mythbusters.
1300s, 1800s, 1600s.
And you brought these down here to show us.
Sure.
You're very brave to bring these on set. So what I want to get to is, because our fans nitpick. Now, we're doing all these tests with this sword. You, with confidence, could say that we could come to some conclusions by using these modern equivalents.
I have that same sword that I use for cutting all the time when I practice.
Perfect. Yes. That's what I want to hear.
Remember, Grant's robot will have to match these guys for sword speed. Using the high-speed camera, they time how long it takes for the blade to cut the straw mat target. The quickest time is 6 milliseconds to slice through 7 inches. That equates to a speed of 48 miles per hour. That's how fast Grant's robot arm will have to swing. Coming soon on this Mega Movie Myth Special, Adam and Jamie aim to ride high on Austin Powers' ejector seat.
That chair is going to clear this car really, really fast.
And next, going down, find out if awnings could really have saved Indy.
1.
When Indiana Jones and his leading lady make an unscheduled exit from the top floor of a building, the only thing between them and certain doom are some awnings. The Mythbusters have replicated that scene and are poised to drop Buster onto 3 awnings. Will they save Buster's bacon? Hold on to your hats.
Did you almost lose a beret?
Almost did.
I've never known that to happen. Did you not put the double stick tape on it this morning?
Pins out!
Let's see. Is an awning as good as a safety net? Or will it be a shroud?
All right, and you're going down in 3, 2, 1.
Buster hit the first awning and spilled onto the second, which tore open, leaving our hero in a rather undignified position.
Is that his ass sticking through?
You'd think he might have earned himself a reprieve, but no. Sorry, Buster, you've got to finish your fall.
His ass fell off.
Is that all of the debris?
He might have gone to pieces, but did he survive the fall? Earlier, Carrie stuck shock sensors all over Buster. Those sensors will have registered the amount of shock force his body took in the fall.
Wait, here we got an arm here. Let's see. Oh, the orange shock watch is tripped. The red shock watch is tripped. It's like 75 G's in the chest.
Which means some broken ribs, but not necessarily death. What about the 100G shock sensor in his head? If that tripped, then it's bye-bye Buster.
Yes, that one was when it was in the head, and supposedly it takes 100 G's to break the neck. So he didn't take that to the head.
It looks like Buster lived.
Adam's more shocked than Buster.
Buster seems to have definitively lived through that exercise. He's definitely a little worse for wear. But all of the metering equipment we had on him says that he survived that fall.
What it tells me is that if you're going to fall off a building, this is not a half bad way to do it. You know, I mean, I wouldn't recommend trying it, but if you got to, I'd go this route.
But Buster's not the last dummy you'll see dropped onto some awnings.
Danger is my middle name.
Soon, Adam will take the plunge and show how they stage a big drop in Hollywood. While Adam prepares to plummet, Tori, Carrie, and Grant are cutting to the core of another Hollywood favorite. Can a sword really cut through another sword, as happens in The Count of Monte Cristo?
Touch him and I'll kill you.
To find out, Grant's building a mechanical rig that will wield a blade with the same speed and power as a trained swordsman.
Your cutting sword is going to go here, horizontally. And we wind up the cable on this drum and hang a weight off of here on the other side of the pulley. When we release the weight, pulls down, pulling the cable off the drum and swinging the sword around. Just like that.
There's just one tiny design flaw. The arm swings at neck height.
Decapitation hazard, everybody.
Which means a lot of walking around like Groucho Marx. 48 miles per hour is the target speed. That's how fast our samurai's blade traveled as it sliced through the straw mat. But there's one catch. The robot has to reach that speed in a single 180-degree arc.
Okay, velocity test in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, that
wasn't very fast.
I'm gonna go stop it.
That was only 25 pounds.
Dropping more weight will make the sword swing faster.
In 3, 2, 1.
But not fast enough. Grant makes some modifications.
First of all, I'm going to get rid of the heavy drum because that's a lot of rotational inertia to overcome, and I think that's really killing our speed.
They replace the cable with a chain and the weights with a pneumatic actuator.
3, 2, 1. That looked like it worked.
I think that worked.
That was frightening.
Now that's more like it. On that swing, the robot matched our swordsman's 48 miles per hour. But speed's not the only concern. The robot has to have the same penetration power as a real swordsman. Faced with a block of ballistics gel, our guest opens up a 9-inch gash.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good deep cut there.
Can the robot do the same?
We go in 3, 2, 1.
The blade plunged as deep as the samurai sword.
Oh, look at that!
I guess we could go on to the swords now.
It looks like the robot warrior's finally ready for battle.
That is awesome.
Coming up on Mythbusters, it's really possible to hide an ejection seat inside a car.
And Adam prepares to follow in Buster's footsteps.
Danger is my middle name.
The Mythbusters have gone to the movies to see if some of Hollywood's most spectacular scenes stack up in reality. Hollywood heroes can always rely on a well-placed window covering to save their bacon. To everyone's amazement, Buster showed that it does work outside the confines of Tinseltown.
According to our shock sensors, Buster survived, and what that means as far as the myth is that it's plausible.
How about that? It's totally survivable. I would not have called that.
That was amazing. I mean, in an emergency situation, if you have to get off the building, I would do it.
Yeah, hold on there, cowboy, because I'm going to do this. I've been dying to do this. We're bringing in the stuntman. They're going to show me how it's really done.
They've called in some top-notch stunt coordinators, and Adam's all set to take the plunge. He's even wearing the Indiana Jones hat. Adam will be dropped at the end of a heavy-duty cable. That cable is fed through some pulleys and connected to a bungee cord, which is anchored to the roof. But before Adam can even put on a safety harness,
hello?
There's a phone call.
Hello?
And a twist worthy of Hitchcock himself.
I'll let them know. Hold on. Adam, you will not be doing the jump. Absolutely 100%. The insurance companies say that this is too hazardous a situation, and you're out. So Tori, looks like you're in.
So Tori will get to do the fall after all. And it looks like we might be about to witness a movie star-style tantrum. Adam's savage.
That's so No, I really, really wanted to do this jump. How often do you get to play with stuntmen on the side of a building? I'm bummed that I don't get to do it.
Like Buster, Tori will have 3 awnings between him and the ground. But in this case, each one will have had one important movie modification.
We've cut an X in the middle of each awning and then taped it back together. Hopefully the tape is strong enough to hold the awnings together, but weak enough to give way when Tori goes flying through it.
I'm a little bit nervous, I'm not going to lie, but I'm also really excited. But right now it's easy to say because we're still on the ground.
Right, his harness is on. The protective gear's in place.
All right, the wind's definitely picking up. We gotta go. Let's get him up there.
Let's do this.
Okay.
Tori rides the boom lift and is soon at the end of his tether.
Now that I'm up here, looking down, a little more nervous than before, but I don't know, I feel like I'm in good hands, so this should go pretty smooth.
It's nice that he has so much trust in these guys. They obviously know what they're doing.
Adam's understudy dangles like a marionette, waiting for his cue. It's vital Tori hits the center of the awnings. A gust of wind could drive him off course and into danger.
On my call, on fire, on fire.
This is it.
Here we go, here we go. 3, 2, 1, fire!
Go!
It was the perfect stunt fall. The awnings split like paper, just as they did in Temple of Doom.
Did you even feel the awnings?
No, I just ripped right through
Really?
It looked
They just weren't even there?
It
just
looked
like it happens so fast. It's like you don't even, before you know it, you're already on the pad.
And our own Indiana Jones is on a bit of an adrenaline high.
All right, can we turn off the cameras and let me have a go?
Sorry, Adam. This time, the glory's all Tories.
Congratulations! That was amazing. You're a great stuntman.
Oh my God, that was so much fun. I hope we do more of these Hollywood myths.
Later, Grant's sword-cutting robot takes a swing.
In 3, 2, 1.
And up next, Adam and Jamie try to fly high on an ejector seat.
This car will never be the same.
Automobile ejection seats.
Yep, they're a staple in spy films. My favorite is James Bond.
Actually, there's a really good one in Austin Powers' Goldmember.
In the movie, our shagadelic hero faces a showdown with a nasty chopper. At the last moment, Austin uses an ejector seat to get the jump on the trigger-happy pilot. As this model shows, James Bond's Aston Martin was equipped with a seat that sent the passenger through the roof. Can Adam and Jamie make this myth fly and build an ejector seat into a car? As crazy as they are, the guys aren't about to copy Austin Powers and eject themselves from a speeding vehicle. Instead, they're going to launch the passenger, and stealth will be the key.
It can't look like there's an ejection seat built into the seat. It's got to be totally concealed. Someone has to be willing to get into that car of their own free will and not have any suspicions they're going to end up face planted on the tarmac.
Well, first up, we need to get a car, and that sounds like something to get Jess onto.
Perfect.
It's got to be a car with the right flavor.
Like a spy-mobile.
That's it.
Exactly.
Now, movie spies drive sexy cars, right? But the Mythbusters aren't credit card gold members. So Myth-Turn Jess follows a couple of leads to this Studebaker boneyard. If the Mythbusters can't have a Jaguar or an Aston Martin, this Avanti might be the next best thing. It has a similar height and roofline.
Well, this is one pretty sweet ride. Just a few cracks in the windshield and needs a little work.
Like any good agent, Jess takes down some vital stats and snaps a few pics for the guys in intelligence to pore over. While she's doing that, Adam and Jamie are working out how to build their surprise seat. On an aircraft, ejection seats are powered by explosive cartridges, which shoot the pilot out of the plane at around 50 feet per second. But firing a rocket in a car could incinerate the driver, in this case, Adam. So they'll use compressed air.
What's the plan?
Well, we got to build a big tank into the trunk, first off, and put a big dump valve on it so it can let go of all the air at once.
That air will be channeled into 5 upright tubes. The seat itself will fit over those like a glove. And when the air is released, the force will hopefully blow the seat up and out of the car. Meanwhile, Adam's been studying Jess's photos of the Studebaker, and he's got car trouble.
Well, sports cars aren't working out too well for us. Almost by definition, they're streamlined and narrow in the roof area. The glass from the windows and the windshields goes over the top of the person's head, so it makes it difficult to shoot out through there.
We probably want to just throw out the whole idea of the sporty spy-mobile car and just go for anything that's got nice upright sides where that ejection seat will clear the roof.
You bet.
Okay, that means sleek and aerodynamic is out and boxy is in.
Yesterday, I went and looked at this car, and it looks like it might be something that we could use.
It's kind of boxy.
Yeah, it's pretty boxy. It looks like the best thing we're going to find.
So, where do we see it?
Let's go outside. It's here right now.
Excellent!
It wouldn't be Austin Powers' first choice, but Adam's impressed.
This is one of my all-time favorite cars.
Really?
Always loved this car. What do you, I mean, Jamie, I'm looking and I see, you know, there's a drive shaft ridge in the middle there, but I think that passenger seat could scooch over this way a little bit.
There's room in the trunk for the air tank. It's perfect.
Sorry. Can we get it, Jamie? Can we get it, please? Can we get it?
Well, sure.
Excellent. It's time to get started working on this thing.
Can a sword sever another sword? It's a scene that always makes the final cut. To test this movie myth, Grant's built a blade-wielding robot.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1.
Which strikes with the same speed and power as a real samurai. Question is that fast and powerful enough to slice a sword?
We're going to do a series of tests, starting with edge to flat.
First, they'll see what a real Japanese sword can do to its stainless steel counterpart. The swords are positioned so they connect at the correct point. A blade doesn't have the same cutting force along its entire length. Closer to the hilt, you have greater weight but less speed. At the tip, you have maximum speed but minimum weight. A third of the way down the blade is the percussion point, the perfect balance between weight and speed.
All right, so this is a battle-ready katana versus a stainless steel katana. Here we go in 3, 2, 1.
Oh!
I did not expect that at all.
The genuine blade made short work of the showpiece.
I love it when you don't expect the results.
It just nicked the tip, the very edge, it nicked it.
You know.
That's sick.
I think we all know what's next. Real sword, real sword?
Yeah.
I think so.
This will be a much sterner test. 2 genuine Japanese swords cast from toughened steel.
Okay, here we go in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, that's right.
The edge of the swinging sword smote the flat side of the target blade.
Nicked it.
How about the target, or the cutting blade?
The cutting blade, just the edge is chipped.
Doled the heck out of it.
But no cut.
This is a totally definitive test for the edge to flat. I mean, there's no questions in my mind about that. But I know our viewers are going to say, well, what about edge to edge?
The swords are repositioned.
You know, in real life, you'd never block it. An edge with your edge.
Right, because you don't want to ruin your sword.
You don't want to ruin your sword.
But here at Mythbusters, we like ruining swords.
All day long.
Striking edge on edge means the maximum amount of force will be concentrated on the smallest possible surface area.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Oh! Did you see that spark?
Yes, I did.
What's this? Have we struck our second plausible movie myth? Well, no. The high speed shows the attack blade didn't cut through at the point of contact. Instead, the sword snapped further down towards the hilt.
So, for us to call this confirmed, it would have to cut through here.
Yeah, it'd have to be a straight cut,
And
right
that's-
where the hitting blade hit the target blade.
Yeah. Down here, that's just a stress fracture. So to test this myth, we've used good quality swords. We've tested them edge to flat and edge to edge. In each case, it's busted.
But hold on, Grant. Samurais aren't the only ones with swords. Soon we'll see if other blades can carve a niche for themselves and make this movie myth a reality. Still ahead, Adam and Jamie get to the seat of the problem. The ejector seat myth takes off. Ejector seats. In aviation, they're a form of salvation. Car ejector seats are a staple of spy films, but do they only work in the movies? Adam and Jamie are about to find out. They're going to fit this innocent-looking vehicle with a bonus feature. The passenger will in fact be sitting on a secret air-powered ejector seat.
We need to clear space between the trunk and the passenger compartment, the trunk being where the tank or the air supply is going to be for this device. And then we need to route tubing forward from that tank to the back and underside of the seat. And we also need to create a trap door in the top of the car.
Adam's in his element.
Check this out. This is engineering. Is that totally cool or what?
The tubes that will make up the air cannon and the seat have been machined precise to 10,000ths of an inch.
Adam.
Oh. Wow. We done made our own pneumatic cylinder.
While Jamie builds the air cannon, Adam starts work on the ejector seat itself. Piloting his trusty sewing machine, he runs up a new seat covering, which will help hide the awful truth.
Well, it's a seat, and I don't see any excess hardware on it.
That's the key.
So,
We are not upholsterers.
Maybe a little weird looking, but you know what it is, and I don't see any pistons.
Before long, the car's starting to resemble something from a Bond film. Adam takes the role of Q.
I'm pretty pleased with how simple this is. These are just plumbing pipes representing our main dump tank. That tank dumps through the back trunk, down through these pipes to these fast-acting, really large capacity valves, a pair of them, that dump into this manifold through these upright pipes and into our chair. We're going to cut away part of the roof here, and that chair is going to clear this car really, really fast.
The rig should generate 2,600 pounds of lift. The passenger and seat together won't be more than 260 pounds. That's a lift ratio of 10 to 1. But that chair ain't going nowhere without a hole in the roof.
I now need to be able to put that panel I cut out back in so that one might be unsuspecting that it was ever there. That'll do.
To make sure the seat makes a smooth exit, Jamie lubes the tubes. The seat itself is installed, the cylinders sliding like a glove over the air cannon. And finally, for some added movie mojo, a secret switch, cunningly disguised as a gear stick.
Is the ignition switch. That's what launches it when you're sitting in the car. I'm ready to drive this thing out to the dirt lot and do a pressure test on it.
Let's do a little quick test, incremental test here first, just before we get out.
Just like 5-10 psi and see what it...
With the rig capable of generating 130 psi, 10 is nothing.
Okay, that's about 10 psi.
Is that what the gauge says?
Yeah.
Cool. That was fast.
Jamie flips the switch.
Well.
Woo! Yeah!
10 psi was enough for liftoff, resulting in one of those magical Mythbuster moments.
I'm gonna go lie down.
Don't leave your seat. Further on down the road, we'll see what happens when they really give the ejector seat some air. On the big screen, when buckles need to be swashed, someone always ends up drawing the short sword. But although the workshop has been ringing with the clashing of steel, Grant's robot hasn't been able to cleave a single samurai blade.
We want to be really thorough with this myth. We don't want to just limit it to Eastern mythology. So we've collected a whole bunch of swords from... Oh my god, this is heavy. We've gotten ourselves a Viking sword. We have a Scottish claymore, which I don't even think I can lift. And finally, we have a European rapier, which I think is my favorite because it's the only one I can lift.
Like the Japanese swords, these blades are modern replicas, crafted from high-carbon steel. Round 1. Let's see what would have happened had the Three Musketeers and some samurais crossed swords.
They're two different fighting styles. You have the Japanese sword, which was used for cutting. The European, the rapier, was used for stabbing.
The simulated samurai takes a swing.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Yeah!
Whoa.
Whoa.
Nice!
Okay.
I hope D'Artagnan ducked, because his sword was sliced.
I think we need to see the high speed.
Yeah.
Or was it?
It bent as if it were rubber, came back, and on the backlash, right here, went poof and snapped. At first, I was so impressed. I thought we might have had a slice, but comes down to it, we had another snap.
And that doesn't count. Next up, could Braveheart's blade sever a samurai's sword? The Scottish weapon is almost 4 times heavier than the target blade and twice as long.
Claymore is a really long blade, and it's got a lot of mass behind it. That usually equals a lot of cutting force.
Claymore versus katana in 3, 2, 1. Oh,
double.
Yeah.
If anything was going to do it, it would have been that. Well, in the Claymore versus the katana round, it definitely bent the hell out of the katana and knocked it over. It was very dramatic. Didn't break it, didn't snap it, didn't cut it.
There's just 1 round left.
We're going to take our 2 biggest swords, which is going to be our Viking sword and our Claymore. Total annihilation.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1.
Despite being twice as heavy, the Claymore seems to have come off second best.
The Claymore is definitely in worse shape than the Viking sword.
Look, the metal's pushed out of the way.
Yeah, and the whole sword is bent down.
Tori, you've got a whole table of bent swords. But where does that leave this movie myth?
So, how'd you guys go?
Well, our sword-swinging robot was able to match the speed and the cutting depth of a real swordsman.
Nice.
The cool thing was it wasn't actually just brute force, it was also slicing.
Okay, so what did you come up with?
So there's absolutely no way a sword can cut through another sword. We get to lay this one to rest. Busted.
Coming up on this mega movie myth special is a bullet the key to a locked door. And more car capers when Adam and Jamie take on a big screen special.
We're gonna jump the hump.
Car ejector seats are a blast on the big screen. Adam and Jamie are trying to install a secret ejector seat in the passenger side of this car. And last time we saw their air chair, it had disappeared out of the workshop. Things rarely work so well, especially first time, a fact that has Jamie's tash twitching.
Well, the first run went well enough that I'm suspicious. It's a little too easy. I mean, it just kind of like went pop, like a little frog right out of the back of the car. That's what I wanted, but I guess the next test is what I'm really worried about, because that was the easy part. Once we start to put load on the front of this and it starts to torque over the whole thing, that's where this is all headed. And if that doesn't work, then I don't know what I'm going to do.
Next, a 70% scale test. They load 120 pounds on the seat.
Looks like it's topping out at about 90.
And charge the tank to 90 psi. This time, it might be a good idea to adjourn to the vacant lot next door.
3, 2, 1.
Dude!
Like clockwork.
That was fantastic!
Having 120 pounds on the seat didn't dampen the rig's lifting power.
It's almost like we knew what we were doing, isn't it?
And the load easily cleared the hole in the car without touching anything, without bumping or rubbing or bending or straining or snapping. It couldn't have gone better. It's totally time to take this full scale. I almost want to ride it. There goes one happy Heinemann.
Now, this is a top secret spy car, right? People shouldn't guess that they're sitting in an ejector seat. The rig's plumbing is easily disguised, but the seat itself might raise eyebrows, and everything else.
It is a little high, isn't it?
It's a tad high.
Still, Adam's confident it will pass the undetectability test.
There's nothing that screams that the passenger seat is going to leave this vehicle. You might get into it and think, oh, Adam's weekend work on this car is a little bit substandard. But you wouldn't think, Adam's about to leave me on the side of the freeway.
Let's test that theory, shall we, Adam?
Bob is our regular tow truck operator. He's always helping us get vehicles out to locations where we do bad things to them. And right now, I think Jamie's going to try and get him to sit in our ejection seat and see if we can't determine that it's indetectable.
Take a seat, Bob.
It's an ejection seat.
Why would you say that?
Roof cut away from the top there. Give me a little hint.
Hey, Bob, see that little thing there? Now, push that button.
I think I'd rather not.
Oh well, let's face it. If he's worked with the Mythbusters before, he's going to suspect something, isn't he? Out at the test track, they try again.
If you'll sit in the passenger seat, I want to show you a couple things about it.
Dawn tells one of Jamie's interns. Will she realize she's sitting in the hot seat?
So does nothing strike you as totally, bizarre about this car, or?
It looks like it kind of suits Dontel, actually.
It does.
Is it too small or something? I don't know.
No. We wanted to see if we could dress this car in such a way as a person would unsuspectingly sit in the seat and it wouldn't reek that the car was fitted with an ejection seat that you are currently sitting in.
Oh, yay. Oh, no.
Dontel suspected nothing, so that's even the score.
Right.
Anything stick out to you?
The gear shift is weird. What is that? What is that? What's this push button automatic?
John here smells a rat, but he hasn't picked it.
What's going here? What's this?
Well, that gets out of the way.
Oh! James Bond!
Yeah, exactly.
Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Now, with Buster still in bits after the awning fall myth, they've called on one of his buddies to make a guest appearance. But there might be a small problem. Well, in fact, a large problem, actually.
What are we doing with the tallest dummy in the whole place?
Clearly, this isn't going to work. Just as well he brought the whole family.
He's got a wife and he's got a kid. And, we're going to try them.
Adam manhandles Buster's buddy's better half into the car.
She's light.
Who said chivalry was dead?
There we go.
We are almost ready to go. We've got a dummy that fits in the passenger seat this time. We've taped the roof above her head. We've got the safety shield in. We've got the electric system working. All that's left is to charge the tank and wait for camera to tell us to roll. We are fully charged. It's 130 PSI.
That air pressure will generate 2,600 pounds of lift, 10 times the weight of the seat and its unfortunate passenger. We know the chair works, but it's never had anybody on board. The one thing that'll stop this dummy making a smooth exit will be flailing limbs on liftoff.
Drive safely.
I will. I'm going to wait for your signal to go.
Okay.
Okay?
It's the moment of truth. Will the ejector seat launch our passenger into the air like Austin? In our scenario, Adam and his date are heading out for a night on the town. What's that? You want me to pay for dinner and a movie?
Wow! That was awesome! That was an incredible noise. It took wow, that was... Woo!
Who needs Austin Powers when you've got air power?
Oh, God, I really want to ride that thing. I just pulled the button and then I heard like this. It was like a full second after I pushed it.
The high-speed camera caught every frame of our passenger's airborne exit.
That might be my favorite high-speed shot we've ever done.
I think so. Well, it definitely worked. It's a little silly. I mean, there are probably simpler and more reliable ways of getting rid of somebody if you wanted to, but
I don't know. Well,
definitely nothing as classy as this.
Not at all. This is plausible and a damn good day's work.
All right.
After the break, Tori goes ballistic to try and bust a Hollywood floor show. And our own Bo and Luke tackle an automotive movie myth. In this Mega Movie Myth special, the Mythbusters are applying the scientific blowtorch to some of Hollywood's greatest hits.
So, intermission, where are we so far?
Cutting a sword with a sword is busted.
Awning fall plausible.
Car ejection seat is plausible.
Check it out. Look what's coming up. Shooting locks off. Ballistic breakout. And jumping a gorge with a car.
For the next movie myth, Tori, Carrie, and Grant will have to really aim up.
What you got for us, Jamie?
Well, this is a classic myth, and it involves a guy that's trying to get through a door. The door's locked, so he pulls out a handgun and shoots the lock, and presto, he's inside.
Jamie's right. Come crunch time in the movies, poppin' locks is a popular plot device. Kurt Russell might be in big trouble in Little China, but he knows freedom is just a shot away. On the big screen, a heavy padlock cannot withstand hot lead.
So I guess we get a bunch of locks and some solid wood doors?
And then we get to open up the Mythbuster arsenal.
Yeah, well, looks like you guys have it well in hand, so have fun with it, huh?
Grant's off to pick some locks. Well, choose some locks. You know what I mean. He puts the lock myth to the locksmith.
In action movies a lot, what they do is they take a gun and like, oh, I gotta get in. I gotta get into this room. And they shoot the lock and it goes boom, and then they kick the door down. I mean, have you heard of this myth? Is this something that happens in the real world, or is this just in the movies?
The quality of the lock makes a big difference. The caliber makes a big difference. You shoot it with a 9mm, it's not going to have the effect of a .45. You shoot it with the .357, it's going to have a lot more impact. It's going to do more damage. A wood door actually might pop open.
Grant walks out with more locks than you'd find at a hairdresser's convention. Meanwhile, Tori's window shopping for doors.
Sounds solid, but look, it's got the handle in it already. We already have a lock in here. We're halfway there.
Back at HQ, Tori builds a mount for each door.
Anybody want to talk to me? I'll be in my office.
Add fits Grant's padlocks and deadbolts.
Call me paranoid.
We've seen a setup like this before. In our last Hollywood special, Adam and Jamie tried a little breaking and entering. Jamie did the entering, and Adam did the breaking.
So all the doors are done. This one right here, it's a solid core wood door. We have 5 of these kind of cheaper deadbolt locks, and then we have a really nice, sturdy, heavy-duty deadbolt lock. We're going to try to shoot those out. I have another solid wood door with cheaper hasps, cheaper locks. This is probably going to be our best bet, is shooting these guys off. Be the easiest, in my opinion.
Now, in the movies, they always blast locks from close range. Our gunslingers will have to do the same, but to guard against flying shrapnel, they'll have some protection.
What I have here is a piece of the bulletproof glass. I've cut a hole in it so we can stick the barrel through the hole, and then this will adjust up and down this track so we can raise it to each of our locks.
Soon we'll see if this movie myth is bang on target or shot down in flames.
You're the hero of the movie. Cops are chasing you. The bad guys are chasing you. You've got to get to safety. You hit some big dirt mound and fly your car to safety, landing far away from the bad guys, driving away to safety.
I sense more car destruction in our future.
In the movie remake of the TV classic The Dukes of Hazzard, Bo and Luke are on the run from a man with a gun. The bridge may be out, but that's no problem when you've got a pile of dirt for a launching pad. The generally not only makes the jump, it lands safely, and those good old boys are freedom bound.
How are we going to do this?
Well, it's a classic movie jump myth. I think it's just another case of making a really big remote control car toy and sending it on a really big jump.
Well, isn't it going to be a little more complicated than that? I mean, we have to actually match something like the Dukes of Hazzard, right?
Sure. I will take a look at the movie and calculate exactly how far the General Lee is supposed to have traveled in the scene we want to replicate, and we'll go from there.
Okay, well, I'll start in on the car. I think this is number 5 for me with the radio control.
As we know, Jamie's the king of remote control.
I've radio controlled a police car. I've radio controlled a car for car pole vault. I've radio controlled a car to try and blow it over with a jet airplane. And what was the other one?
The other one was the JATO rocket car. No wonder he's struggling to remember. That was way back in the very first episode.
That was hysterical. That was absolutely outrageous.
But this RC setup will be his most complex. The car will have to hit a ramp at high speed, so Jamie will need to control acceleration and steering.
I've gotten radio controls on the throttle.
I never get tired of that part.
I've got it on the shifter. I've got it on the brakes. And the tricky one is I've got it on steering.
And if he hopes to hit a ramp at top speed, the steering will be crucial.
When it comes down to the moment of truth, this control right here is where it's at. If I don't have this totally buttoned down, this car is going to get airborne someplace that I don't want it to be.
But can he make it fly as far as the General Lee? And even if he does, will it be able to keep on rolling? Still to come, Jamie's remote-controlled car doesn't stay under remote control. And Tori, Carrie, and Grant have their sights set on the lock-shooting myth. A locked door is no barrier for an actor packing a piece. A single bullet from close range will usually pop a lock. Now, Tori, Carrie, and Grant are about to give it a shot themselves. At the Chabot Gun Club, a familiar face is waiting. Every time the Mythbusters go ballistic, Sergeant Alan Normandy is on hand.
Before we start shooting, as is always the case when we play with guns, we always talk about these safety rules.
And it's just as well, because they've brought an entire armory with them.
We'll be starting with the 9mm handgun, then moving up to a .357 Magnum.
And if they don't work?
Then a 12-gauge shotgun, and finally the big boy, the M1 Garand.
First, the 9mm. All the padlocks on this door are identical. We're locked and loaded.
Take a deep breath, line up your sights.
Carrie pumps 3 rounds into the padlock. Anyone getting through that door?
All right, it's still working. You hit the bottom here, and it's ripped it a little bit, but the lock is still secure.
In fact, the key still works.
standard lock has been shot 3 times in 3 different places, side on, front on, and on the corner. Still works perfectly. It doesn't open without the key.
9mm, no good.
The shooting shield is raised to the next lock. This time, Carrie will use the .357 Magnum.
357, 158 grain, flat tip.
Dirty Harriet blasts away.
In 3, 2, 1.
The lock is battered, but still won't budge. It's early days, but already this Hollywood myth isn't looking very high caliber. Next, a door studded with deadbolts. Can Carrie's handguns aim up this time?
9mm on deadbolt.
Still works.
So let's move on to the 357.
Once again, those point-blank pistols have come up empty.
I mean, it's definitely loosened up a lot. But the lock itself, it's still working.
Handguns are not the key. So what sort of firepower does it take to access all areas? It's time to bring out the big guns.
I would encourage you guys to get back a little bit, because this is where you're going to have bouncing bullets.
Bouncing Betty.
This time, Grant's our sharpshooter.
Okay, so this is 12 gauge slug, 1,600 feet per second. Everybody ready?
He takes aim at another standard padlock.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, yeah!
Wow!
Got all of that one.
Yeah!
Deer slug, I like it.
Hang on, sure, there's plenty of damage, but the lock still seems to be attached.
Still working.
There.
Shut
No.
up! Buddy! Nice!
Deer slug
Confirmed.
breaks the locks off.
Now the M1 Garand.
Okay, this is 30-06 high power rifle round in 3, 2, 1.
Wow! Went right through the door jamb.
Wow!
Yeah, I think that does it. What do you guys think?
No, I don't think we even have to check. I can pretty much tell that the lock's been blown apart.
Oh my
Okay.
God!
What about a deadbolt? Can it survive Grant's heavy artillery?
12 gauge shotgun slug into deadbolt in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah!
I think it works!
The deer slug
Yeah.
seems to be the winner of the day.
That's the one.
And the M1 Garand?
In 3, 2, 1. I think that's how we do that, huh?
I would have to say that the M1 Garand works.
Talk about overkill. The rifles might have destroyed the locks, but pull the trigger from that distance without protection, and you'd be showered with shrapnel.
So what happened? Fill me in.
Handguns busted.
The shotgun and the M1 Garand, plausible.
You know, you really don't recommend this, right?
No, definitely not. There are many easier ways to get into a door, so don't do it.
Besides the fact that it's totally impractical and the ricochets could kill you or injure you.
Well, that's a good point.
Good job.
Still ahead, Tori takes aim at the myth of the ballistic breakthrough and the remote-controlled cars on a collision course.
There we go again.
How many times have we seen this at the movies? Car takes to the skies, car clears huge jump, car drops back to earth, and miraculously drives on. Our own Duke of Hazards rigged this beast with remote control. Now he's waiting to find out how far it'll have to jump to match the movie. Adam's been studying the scene.
Hey, man. Yeah, listen, I did the calculations from what I saw in the film, and it looks like the General Lee is flying about 175 feet. And by my calculations, that means it should be hitting a 30-degree ramp at about 70 miles per hour.
Okay.
Can your RC car go that fast?
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll see you in the next scene.
And that scene is the track, where Jamie and Adam plan to make this jump.
So you got some dirt for us.
You want to follow us in the pickup truck? We're going to take you down to the end of the runway. We're going to lay it pretty much right in the middle.
In the Dukes of Hazzard, the General Lee mounts a pile of earth. Adam and Jamie's jump ramp will have to match.
That looks like a big pile of dirt to me.
Hang on, guys. You plan to launch a car 175 feet off this little old mound of dirt? Stunt drivers might do crazy stuff with cars, but at least they use purpose-built ramps. Over the years, Australian stunt king Ray Bauman has dragged a variety of vehicles over such ramps. In 1998, Ray took a tilt at the record for the world's longest car jump. The rules stated that his car would have to land on 4 wheels and drive away. In other words, he'd have to replicate our movie myth to take the title. Did he succeed? We'll come back and find out how Ray got on later. Meanwhile, Adam and Jamie are getting down and dirty.
I pronounce this Heinemann Mountain.
Turning a mound of dirt into a ramp isn't as easy as it sounds. If the earth isn't compacted, the car will just plow through it. Jamie has a plan.
The way that we used to do it on building sites is about a foot at a time and then flatten it out. So we build it up very methodically.
Hold it a second, Jamie. You worked on building sites?
In one of my former lives, I actually worked as a building inspector, and part of my job was to stand around and watch as layer after layer was put in on building sites, because when you're about to build a foundation, it's important that dirt be properly compacted.
Jamie lays down 1 layer at a time for Adam to roll. Gradually, the ramp rises to the required 30-degree angle. Boy, that ramp's skinnier than Daisy Duke's denims. Remember, Jamie's RC car has to hit the ramp at top speed. There's no margin for error, so they'll need to make the target a little bigger.
What we're doing here is making the hump a little larger, a little wider, because when that car gets going 90 miles an hour, I don't really know how dead center I'm going to be able to get it on this thing. And the hump, as it was, is just perfect. We want a little additional insurance. Because what we don't want to have is this once we get going. And that's what will happen if we go off to one side or the other just a few inches.
They widen the ramp, giving Jamie a larger target to aim at.
Nothing like a good hump, is what I always say. We've got a nice hump over here. We're going to jump the hump.
Well, I'd call that mountain finished. It's as close to 30 degrees as we're going to get. It's nice and solid. The only question is, can Jamie hit it with an RC car at 70 miles per hour?
Jamie runs a complete check of the car's remote control system. When the time comes, it'll have to work without a glitch.
What I'm looking for is smoothness in control, in particular on the steering. These older cars tend to float a lot. They're kind of boats, and that's always been a problem for me because I need to get it really tracking straight.
To help him achieve that, there's an added feature, never before seen on a Heinemann RC Special.
We're going to call this the Jamie Cam. We have the actual camera lens out here. We have the transmitter inside the car, and then we have this monitor, which I'll be able to look at, as well as look at the car, through the windshield of the chase vehicle as I'm going along.
Remember, Jamie already has 4 servos to control: throttle, brake, steering, and gear shift. And at the same time, he'll be monitoring the car's trajectory on screen. Hope his coordination's up to scratch.
It's time to take this puppy for a test ride. Remember, if the car gets out of control, don't try to outrun it, go at right angles. That's nature knows that that's the best way of getting out of the way of a thing that's faster than you are.
Slowly, the world's biggest toy car takes to the road.
I never get tired of watching one of those things go.
and almost immediately, it veers off it again.
Uh-oh.
Turn it off.
Whoops. Here we go again. I haven't set the fail-safe yet.
You haven't?
Nope.
At least you weren't in it this time, Adam. Back in the drive shaft pole vault myth, Adam found himself taking a back seat as Jamie's remote-controlled car crashed through the same fence.
What the hell was that? We better call the fence company again.
After all the effort it's taken to bring the car under his control, Jamie forgot just one little bitty thing. The failsafe.
I don't know why the brakes didn't come on.
Failsafe is exactly what the term implies. That any failure mode is a safe failure mode, i.e., if we lose the ability to control the car with the radio, that its default will be to put its brakes on. And apparently in this test, Jamie hadn't yet set the failsafe, so he's doing that right now.
I should be able to turn off the radio.
And the brake will activate.
And the brake will go on.
All right. There it goes.
And there it is.
Good.
All right.
Excellent.
Jamie has to make sure he has this car under control. If he's off, even by a few inches, the whole experiment will crash and burn. The guys do a test run at 50 miles per hour, with Jamie trying to steer the car from the chase vehicle.
It went to failsafe. Interesting.
Well, I probably got too far away.
Yeah.
Here's another challenge. Adam will have to stay close to the car, so Jamie's transmitter stays in range.
It's much easier for me to judge its speed if I'm off to the side a little bit.
Okay.
And staying with it.
All right.
Jamie has to maintain control of the car.
Oh, there it is.
Adam has to make sure he keeps Jamie's transmitter in range.
You're not keeping me where I want to be.
Sorry.
They do several laps of the runway, trying to master the choreography.
15 miles an hour.
The only thing that I could use some help with is I'm just focusing on that line, and like I have no idea that I'm about to the end of the runway.
Okay, I will keep you posted on that. So you think we're ready to do it for real?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Still to come, can you use bullets to bust through a floor?
You can totally do it.
And Adam and Jamie put the pedal to the metal. Earlier, the guy shot a few holes in the lock shooting myth. And since then, Tori's had a video night at his house and seen this. In the movie Underworld, Kate Beckinsale's vampy vampire is cornered by a pack of slavering werewolves. So she decides to shoot her way out, straight down. No prizes for guessing the next myth. Does Tori look any good in a PVC bodysuit? Nah, just kidding. Tori's going to find out if shooting a hole in a floor is a viable means of escape.
Tori, I've been thinking about the ballistic breakout thing, and I don't think you can just stand on a floor and start shooting around yourself. There's too much of a risk from either ricochets or secondary ricochets from like nails and wood chips.
Not to mention that I might shoot my foot off.
If you're that bad a shot. Yeah.
I might. You never know.
Do you have a plan?
Well, yeah, I was thinking maybe what I'll build a target deck, and then just above that, I'll build another deck with a hole in it, and I can shoot through that deck, and it'll keep me safe from any stray bullets.
I think that's perfect.
Tori plans to construct a platform with a circular slot cut into it for the muzzle of the gun. The target floor sits underneath. Tori will try and blast a ring around a pile of sandbags and see if they crash through. Now, Tori's highly skilled when it comes to set design. Back when Adam and Jamie plunged into the appliances in the bath myth, he built a whole bathroom in the workshop. So a timber deck is a no-brainer.
This is the shooter's deck. I have a 1-inch slot that I will be able to stick the muzzle of the gun through and try to shoot a hole in the target deck. And then I'll come on this side
In the movie, the floor looks to be tiled, so vinyl tiles are laid on the plywood half of the deck. Back out at the range, the target floor is set up, with the shooting platform positioned over the top.
Well, you know, this whole experiment is shooting a hole to escape, and you would have to be standing there shooting around your feet. We're not allowed to do that. It's too dangerous. So what we're going to do is put 150 to 180 pounds, and I'm going to shoot around that, and that's going to simulate a human being standing there. This way I'll be out of the way, and we'll have the weight. In case we do cut a hole, the weight will drop through the floor.
In the movie Myth, the hole is opened up using two 9mm automatic pistols. Tori will use a fully automatic MP5, which also fires 9mm bullets. He's never handled a weapon like this before.
Is the weapon unsafe?
It is.
So Sergeant Alan Normandy gives Tori a thorough safety briefing.
Go ahead and now make the gun totally safe. Okay, let it hang.
Okay, let's say you're trying to escape someone. Would you ever think of shooting a circular hole in the ground and, you know, dropping through?
Well, if I was a cartoon character, I might try that. But in real life, no, I would imagine that would never work.
So it's as likely as crime fighting in stilettos.
No, but they look cool.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They look cool. If you're ever going to bust that mess, give me a call.
Okay, moving right along. It's time to find out if bullets can open up an escape hatch.
Okay, ready?
We've got a floor, sandbags that weigh the same as a person, a shooting platform, and a Mythbuster with an itchy trigger finger.
So now Tori gets to live out his Counter-Strike fantasy.
In Underworld, Kate Beckinsdale needs only two 20-round clips to achieve her ballistic breakthrough and escape the werewolf horde. How many will Tori need?
Yeah!
Oh, now?
He empties one clip, then another.
He's a lot better at this online.
It's never like the movies.
No.
Ever.
That's 40 rounds, but the floor is still intact. The bullets stitch a circle in the timber, but it looks like he might have done too good a job building the floor. The support beams are getting in the way.
I guess it's the shotgun.
You gonna help?
Yep.
Looking like a certain 1930s cartoon character, Gwant uses the shotgun to blast away to Wascoe's support beams. And soon it's a tag team floor show. After half an hour, Tori runs out of ammo.
All right, dude, that's 360 rounds, plus your help with the shotguns.
The careful observer will note that the sandbags are still there.
You're almost there.
Tori resorts to trampling the timber. He finally makes it through the plywood.
All right, well,
There you go.
kind of halfway escaped.
Looks like this movie myth is seriously flawed.
Let's just face it, this is totally busted. This is completely impractical.
Yeah,
It took way too long. It took way too much ammunition. It's not remotely like the movies.
The way you would see it in Hollywood, where
That's-
someone just shoots right through the floor.
Not gonna happen.
It's
Never gonna
this
happen.
one's busted.
It's busted.
But man, it sure was fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Nice circle.
After the break, our Mega Movie Myth special reaches its climax. Adam and Jamie try to duplicate the Dukes and make a car fly far. Our Mega Movie Myth special has reached its final reel. Can a car jump 175 feet and still be drivable? Adam and Jamie have got a remote-controlled car, a dirt ramp, and just one shot.
The worst case scenario is that the car hits this bump off to the side and just rolls. In that case, I don't think we'll be getting this car running again. And, I don't know what the hell we do then.
Just as they're about to launch, there's a problem. The car has a flat. This car last saw action in the rough road driving myth. That was fairly sedate handling by Mythbusters standards, but it obviously still took its toll. Still, Adam's being philosophical.
Well, it goes like this. If you're doing something and there's no problems the whole way through, there's bound to be some major screw-up at the very end. But if you encounter a series of small problems along the way, Murphy's Law dictates that that will take care of the problem gods, and you won't have a major disaster along the way. So, hopefully this is one of those nice small problems that's easy to deal with.
Nice theory, Adam.
Let's do that. Let's
Except that the jack doesn't work. Maybe you haven't appeased the problem gods after all.
We're just going to bring over the tractor. Lift the car with the tractor. As long as we got one, it's a cheap car jack.
There's no spare, so Adam has to seal the leak. All they can do now is hope the tire will survive until the car mounts that ramp. Right, it's time to see if our own kings of catastrophe can match it with the Dukes of Hazzard.
You ready, Jamie?
And gear.
Go.
The car has a camera on the hood, so Jamie will be able to see the ramp approaching. Adam has to tail the RC car closely so that the RC transmitter stays in range. Jamie's got white line fever.
Keep my eye level on that line.
The car hits 65 miles per hour, the chase vehicle in hot pursuit. With the ramp looming, the car suddenly starts swerving back and forth. Jamie struggles to regain control.
You can totally do it.
At the last second, he threads the needle. And another Mythbusters experiment ends with the reassuring sound of rending metal.
Oh my Lord. That was so close to an abort.
I was watching you like go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then like, God, maybe like 4 seconds before you hit the ramp, you just hit it perfectly center. That was nice driving.
Thank you, Adam.
It was nice driving. That car couldn't have hit the ramp any squarer.
You know, I was about ready to abort, but I just kind of like, I saw it kind of hit a sweet spot right before the ramp, and I just kind of didn't do a whole lot, just the lightest touch, and it made it and went right down the slot.
Shall we measure out how far it went?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear where it landed.
Where do you think, Sherlock?
Look at the dirt trail that it spread the whole way.
Remember, Adam calculated the length of the General Lee's jump to be around 175 feet.
All right, it left from right here.
What did we get?
You're not gonna believe it.
150?
172.
No!
Yeah, we came within 3 feet of our target distance, baby.
We're not gonna get any closer than that.
And the myth, well, like the car, it's a write-off.
Yes, they could have flown 175 feet on a mound of dirt. I think we've definitively proved that that part of this myth is plausible. That you could drive away from an impact like this? Well, I definitely don't think you could drive away. I'm not even sure you could walk away.
I mean, there's no way that anyone is remotely driving away in this thing. It's busted.
Yep.
The car's busted. The myth is busted.
That's true. It's very hard on a car if you do that.
Well, there's your problem.
Oh, and by the way, remember Ray Bowman? He's the Australian stunt car driver who was aiming for the world record for the longest car jump. To claim the title, his car had to land on 4 wheels and drive away after the jump. Well, the car flew 272 feet, landed on 4 wheels, and kept on driving. It was a new world record. But Ray not only busted the old record, he also busted several vertebrae and spent 6 weeks in hospital. So, thanks, Ray. You helped bust this movie myth once and for all.
Look at that. Is there a more beautiful view than that? San Francisco in the distance, destroyed car that flew exactly how far we wanted to do in the foreground. Yep, good feel. Guys, that was great. I love doing this episode.
Well, let's recap. What did we get?
Awning fall is plausible.
Cutting a sword with a sword, totally busted.
Ejection seat was plausible.
Oh, and ballistics break-in, when you shoot through the floor, that was busted.
Shooting a lock was busted for handguns, but plausible for heavy artillery.
And jumping a gorge and driving away, completely busted.
You guys really know how to ruin a movie.
That's confirmed.